think I might have called him RTAC before, but whatever.
Oh.
Arcad. I don't remember.
Welcome to Stargazing, a Stargate gazing podcast. I'm your host, Mary.
And I'm your other host, Kathy.
And each week we review an episode of Stargate alternating between SG1 and Atlantis.
Hello.
How are we doing?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine, too.
Excellent.
How's life?
Life is fine. It's been busy. Very busy, but okay overall. How about you?
It's also been fine. Yeah.
I don't have much new to report since we last recorded a couple days ago.
What? Your life hasn't radically changed in 3 days? That's actually probably a good thing. I'm going to stop saying that now.
Yeah, did tons of work, gave some exams. Now I have a shit ton of grading to do.
Yeah.
Did you get Monday off? Being
No.
President's Day?
Did you?
I was supposed to, but I was too busy. I was falling too far behind, so I spent the entire day working anyway, even though I did not have classes and was not supposed to have to work, but I did.
That is annoying.
It is, quite.
No, I went to work like a chump.
Boo.
I know. It's okay. Oh, I think I mentioned to you guys I was doing more genealogy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a sad fact.
Uh-oh.
And then I'm going to try to make it not so sad.
Yay?
So I told you that I had found some Lithuanian language newspapers. I was running through Google Translate.
Yeah.
And I found, information about my great-grandmother, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I knew nothing about her, not
That's
even her
cool.
actual first name, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Her surname is like a married female version of my great-grandfather's surname, so I had to search both of them in order to find all the relevant articles for both of them. Mm-hmm. But in doing so, I also found articles about his brothers, which was good because I'm just kind of curious about that family in general. Yeah. And one of my great-grandfather's brothers, he's the last one living, I think. He died in 1981. And this obituary was like, blah, blah, blah. He was a great singer. We really loved him. By the way, he died alone in a nursing home with no friends or family. And I was like, this is so sad.
That is very sad.
But then I started reading some of the other articles about him from before he died, because I was working backwards through this archive. Mm-hmm. And they sing his praises all the time about his singing, and it's pretty amazing. And
nice. I
found out today he was in this men's choir in Cleveland that traveled to England and traveled to Russia.
Wow.
Doing singing. So I'm like, it seems like he had a great passion and had a good time with it. So I'm going to be like, I don't know if he was really sad and alone, but if he was, hopefully that was a short thing, and most of his life he was good.
Let's hope maybe he was senile, had dementia, which in some ways I think can be a blessing if you have nobody else left. Maybe. I mean, dementia is awful, but
yeah.
I'm always told that it is worse for the relatives than it is for the person who has it. So maybe he wasn't doing too bad as far as loneliness goes, if he just wasn't really quite aware of what was happening.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, obviously, but at least, like, researching his actual life is making his death better for me.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting person. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. He's also the only one of that generation I found a photo of because it was in the newspaper.
Ah.
Not in the one I was looking at, but in a different one I had found at a different point. But
nice.
Yeah. He was a
very
tiny
cool
little Lithuanian man. He was like between 5'3" and 5'5", depending on the source.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your brother got all the tall from somewhere else in the family.
Yes, other branches of the family were much taller than this group. Yeah.
Fair.
I'm not short. I'm fun size.
So that's what I spend my free time doing now. Yeah.
Excellent. That's a good way to spend free time.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. I spent some time working on that for a bit, and then I kept meaning to go back to it, and then I never did. I got too busy with other things. But I should return to it at some point.
Yeah, when you're not so busy, whenever that will be.
Yeah, never, because I will be for sure starting a doctoral program this summer. So
whoop whoop! Oh, where are you going?
University of Buffalo.
Okay.
has
Online?
accepted me as of today. Yeah, it's online, thankfully.
Cool.
But it's like a 3 to 4 year program.
Oh, nice.
So it will be busy. And I'm keeping my same job, which is why I chose this program, because I don't have to leave my current job.
Right.
Because that would suck.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you want to study? Anything specific in mind?
An educational doctorate.
Oh, right. Okay.
I would like to go back for a PhD, but a PhD would for sure require me to quit my job, and that wouldn't make any
Right.
sense for me to do since I like this job. So if I am trying to just improve at my job and also, maximize salary by earning a terminal degree, it wouldn't make any sense to leave the job that is currently paying me.
Indeed.
If my hopes are to make more money at my current job and also be better at my current job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my plan. You know who else is dealing with some family stuff?
Oh, man. I was going to go knew who else just abandoned their career.
I am not abandoning my career, but yes, there
That's
is
true.
someone else who is dealing with family stuff and abandoning his career.
That's what I meant. The opposite of what I said.
There you go.
Yes.
It is Teal'c.
It is Teal'c. Yes.
Yep. He made some choices.
He sure did.
What is this episode that we are talking about today?
This episode was Stargate SG1 Season 10, Episode 17. Talion?
Sure. They never even say the name of the place.
No, I think I read in somebody was in something I was reading that it's eye for an eye. I don't know.
Yeah.
I meant to Google it specifically, and then I didn't because that is how I be.
Fair.
Forgetful.
The episode starts with a bunch of SG personnel, including SG1, walking through a very devastated smoking village at night. Everyone's searching around with flashlights. There are bodies everywhere. People are calling for more light. People are calling for medics. Vala calls out to tell somebody that there's another one here.
There's some lovely filth down here.
And they come upon Braytak. Braytak not looking so great. He's got a very shot up and burned face. Daniel's the one that finds him and calls for a medic. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Sam manages to find Teal'c. Teal'c is also equally bad, and they're both unconscious. And then credits. Yeah.
Very quick.
This is like the shortest opening I think we've ever had on this show.
Maybe.
Some of these openings are so long that I forget that credits haven't even happened by the time that credits finally happen.
Very true.
Yep.
But not this one. They got to the point quickly.
They did. After credits, we get a flashback of this village before it was destroyed. Teal'c is there and walking around, so he has not been injured yet. There are just a bunch of Jaffa people meeting. It is supposed to be a peaceful summit, basically to talk about the direction that the Jaffa people and government are going to be going in. There's a bit of arguing about rhetoric and reforming councils and trade policies, and also there's, of course, concern about the Ori and all of the Jaffa that are returning to religious ideology and organized religion and just following the Ori for lack of any other false god to follow.
Dead false god.
Braytak, as always, is the voice of reason amongst these upset younger people and talks about the importance of avoiding infighting because that's going to be their weakness now. They've had their victory over the Goa'uld, so they can't let themselves fall to the Ori now.
Let's not bicker and argue.
As Braytak is talking, Teal'c is standing at this tent inside the entrance, and he looks outside to see a man with a very giant scar on his face.
Yeah.
Walking by, looking a little suspicious, smirking at Teal'c as he walks by. Teal'c heads out and starts to follow him, and then a tent explodes and people start screaming.
Yeah. And then multiple tents explode, and there's slow-mo running around Teal'c.
Indeed. I was thinking that was in a separate scene, but yes, there are multiple tents exploding, and yes, lots of screaming. It's bad.
It is bad. And then we are in the SGC infirmary, where Teal'c wakes up in a bed because, as we saw in the beginning, he was unconscious.
Yeah.
Dr. Lamb is there. Hi, Lamb.
We haven't seen
you
her
in a
forever.
long time. Yeah.
I forgot about her until I was like, oh yeah, it's her. Guess we're going to drop that storyline of Landry and Lamb trying to have their reconciliations here.
Yeah, a long way back, I guess, because she hasn't been around to be cranky about it.
Yeah, I don't even remember the last time we saw her. I feel like it's been at least, like, maybe the beginning of last season.
Yeah. They haven't needed a lot of doctors lately.
I guess.
She informs Teal'c he's been unconscious for, like, 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Excuse me? 2 weeks.
He was very, very injured. They did a bunch of surgery on him multiple times. And it's going to take him a while to walk again.
She wasn't sure he was going to walk again, even. He damaged his spine.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
She says that everyone's going to be really happy he's awake. And then she says at least one of them has pretty much been here since they brought him in, but doesn't say who. And I'm assuming she's talking about Daniel?
I thought that she meant at least one of them at a time has been there, if not more.
Okay. They were taking turns. I was like, what?
My impression was that they were all taking turns and that there has been always at least one member there.
Okay. I just totally misinterpreted that. I'm like, wow, okay. Why don't you tell us who? All of them. It's all of them. Okay. Yep. Teal'c nods off, and then we see Lamb letting everyone know that he was awake for a few minutes. Mitchell asks Lamb, does he know about Braytac? And she says no, she didn't talk to him for very long before he was out of it again. And also maybe it wasn't the right moment to do that. And she says he's going to have to go through a lot to get back on his feet. And Mitchell's like, I've been there, so I'm going to go see him. Next we see Teal'c is awake again with Daniel and Vala hanging out with him. Teal'c wants to know what's going on. They are hesitant still to tell him, but Teal'c is like, I need to know. So Daniel lets him know a bunch of people died, 32, and 12 people were critically injured. And we get a flashback where we do see Teal'c in the aftermath of the explosions, conscious at the moment. However, that doesn't last long, but the situation is dire looking in this flashback.
Yeah.
They came to find him. They tell him once he didn't check in. Teal'c asks about Braytac. They do tell him he's alive. Teal'c wants to see him right away, but Mitchell's like, you are not in good condition, but Teal'c insists. So that's what he's going to do, regardless of whether he can walk or not.
Indeed. So we're in some other room next. Dr. Lamb is there. Braytac is there. He's intubated and not conscious. They bring Teal'c in on a wheelchair. Specifically, it is Mitchell bringing him in. Dr. Lamb says that she wishes that she could tell Teal'c that he's going to pull through, but she doesn't know that yet, so things are going very badly for Braytac. We get a very brief flashback of Braytac talking about how for generations they've plotted and fought for their emancipation, and they never planned for what they were going to do once they got that freedom. And Teal'c is continuing to see events happening back on the planet in his flashbacks, seeing the scarred man and seeing the explosions happening again. And then end of flashback. And then I thought we were going to get, like, the entire rest of the series would be just Teal'c kind of hanging out and recovering and going to physical therapy and stuff. But nope, despite the fact that he was almost going to never walk again and had surgery on his spine, he's up and on his feet and just fine in the next scene.
How much time has passed?
I don't know. This should have been like months of recovery.
Yeah.
But they make it seem like it's really no time at all, so
it's weird.
Unknowable. It annoyed me.
Yeah, a little bit.
That they made it just seem like it was a couple days later, for all we know.
One eternity later.
Yeah.
Yep. So Teal'c is up on his feet. As I mentioned, he heads into Landry's office because he has gotten intelligence from Jaffa close to the person that organized the summit. So apparently he's been not only up and about long enough to go through months of physical therapy, but also to be having conversations with other Jaffa elsewhere. Teal'c tells Landry that it is believed that a Jaffa named Arkad is the one that is responsible for this entire thing, and Teal'c has met him before. He says that he's been in battle with him a few times and calls him a warrior without honor. It's believed that Arkad is trying to accumulate followers and resources and soldiers, basically, so that he can then bring them all over to the Ori and have a powerful Jaffa nation that is headed up by the Ori. So all that seems bad.
Yeah.
Teal'c says Arkad is dangerous and needs to be eliminated. Landry is skeptical, though. I wasn't really sure why he was so skeptical. He refers to this as being like a personal vendetta for Teal'c. And I mean, I can see where it would seem that way on the surface, but he's just told you that Arkad is going to be bringing tons of warriors to the Ori.
It's true.
Why that wasn't more of a concern to Landry here, at least initially, I wasn't really so sure. Didn't make much sense.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also feel like Teal'c jumps right off the deep end immediately. Like, there has been a lot of imminent danger and a lot of terrible people in his past, and all of a sudden he's like, this guy needs to die right now.
Yes, I mean, he did jump right to that, but at the same time, Landry was totally against doing anything against Arkad. I feel like there would have been a happy medium where Teal'c wants to kill him, and Landry says, well, maybe we just catch him for intelligence first, because you're right, he sounds like a big problem.
Yeah.
But no, we have Teal'c saying, we need to kill him, and Landry being like, meh.
Yeah.
I don't think so. This is just you trying to get revenge.
So weird.
It was very weird. Oddly dismissive of Landry. Not that surprising that Teal'c jumped right to wanting to kill him based on what we know of Teal'c. But yeah, it just seemed weirdly dismissive.
Yeah.
Teal'c goes on for a little bit longer to try to convince Landry that this is what needs to be done. Landry just basically tries to placate him by telling him he's done a tremendous job getting back on his feet. But Dr. Lamb says he's not ready for active duty yet. And so, maybe just give us a little bit more time.
They say time is the fire in which we burn.
But Teal'c says he's given them enough time. Also, at one point in the conversation, Teal'c asks if Landry would be more willing to send people after Arkad if it had been a bunch of humans that were blown up instead, and Landry was very insulted by that insinuation that he didn't care just because they were Jaffa.
Yeah.
So, wasn't a great look for either of them, really.
No. What are you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Then Landry and Mitchell have a chat about the situation as they wander through the SGC. Landry's continuing to insist that this is one man's personal revenge, and they are not going to go along with it.
Again, it's not just that.
Yeah.
You've been fighting the Ori for how long now? Do you really want them to have more allies?
Yeah. Mitchell's trying to argue against this. I guess Landry's response is to issue a memo.
Yeah.
To keep an eye on things, to continue investigating the situation.
Dear Sir Stroke Madam, fire! Exclamation mark.
Mitchell says that's not enough for Teal'c, or probably him too.
Right.
Mitchell had gone to try to talk Teal'c out of leaving, but Teal'c insists on leaving. He's gonna go off on his own. And Landry says he can do that if he wants. He's got free will. So next we see that's what's happening. Teal'c's in his robes, and I was thinking maybe the rest of SG1 just hides under his robes and goes with him.
Vincent Adultman, how are things at the old 9 to 5?
Good. I went to the stock market today. I did a business.
But that doesn't happen.
It doesn't. He is a very large person, though. You could probably fit at least one or two of them under there.
Yeah.
You could definitely fit Vala under there.
Oh, yeah.
She's very small.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a different episode, Vala and Teal'c on this revenge quest.
Yes.
The rest of the team, though, is watching from the control room, talking about, maybe we could zat him, maybe we could go with him. Daniel says he offered, but Teal'c doesn't want them to go with him. Teal'c promised he'd stay in touch, which they don't really believe. And then Teal'c leaves.
Yep.
Bye, Teal'c.
Teal'c was basically ready to just go kill Archon and never come back and see his friends that he has been friends with for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
That also seemed weird to me.
So weird. This episode was weird.
Like, it's fine if you feel like you need to quit the SGC to go on this mission. That's okay, but, like, never talk to them again? Why? Yeah, it was weird.
Yep.
So back in the village, everybody is digging up stuff and looking like they're trying to recover as best they can. Teal'c is sitting in the middle of a bunch of spears that have been stuck into the ground. And some random kid comes up, because I guess this kid just likes hanging out in memorials. I don't know why she was there, but she says that her dad said that all of the sticks honored the people who died. And Teal'c agrees. She asks him if he knows who did this, and he says he does. The little girl says that her dad says that the person that did this is a coward and they need to pay with their lives, and Teal'c agrees. So that was a weird scene also.
Yeah.
Back in the infirmary, Daniel is there reading a book, hanging out with Braytac, who's unconscious, but then suddenly Braytac isn't unconscious and, of course, is starting to panic because there's a tube in his throat. So Daniel then also starts to panic and runs out for help. Dr. Lamb and some nurses come in and get ready to extubate him. And that's all we get of that scene.
Then we're somewhere else. Some other planet, neither the one that had the explosion nor the SGC.
Nope.
I did think the scenery outside the windows of the bar he goes into, it looked very... I've been playing a lot of Dorfromantic, and the scenery looked very much like I had put it together myself in that game. But
I did not even notice the scenery outside.
Teal'c is in the bar. He goes up to some guy who knows Teal'c on sight. Teal'c gets right down to business. He's like, what do you know about the bombing? And this guy's like, yeah, I know a bunch of Jaffa died, and I don't really care because I'm a human and you Jaffa were killing us for a really long time because everything sucked under the Goa'uld. So I have a beef with you because you were doing the Goa'uld's bidding. Teal'c isn't listening to this. He throws the table aside and grabs this guy, pushes him against the wall, and demands to know what he knows. He wants to know about the man with the scar. This guy is like, well, we can work out a deal, and Teal'c only wants a name and where he can find the scar guy. And this guy, I don't know what his name is.
I don't know. Do we really get a name for him?
I don't think so. Teal'c's victim? He tells Teal'c, if you kill me, you're not going to get anything. And Teal'c's like, I would get great satisfaction from that. So, on you.
Back in the infirmary, Braytac is able to talk again, so no tubes, and he's recovered surprisingly quickly from being intubated for months?
Yeah.
How long has this been?
I don't know.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
If Teal'c was out 2 weeks, and it should have taken Teal'c several months to recover, Braytac is now just waking up, and I don't know, he shouldn't be able to talk this easily after being intubated that long, but here we are. Anyway, he knows Artak. Artak was a student of his for quite a while, but things were always just not quite right. And so both he and Teal'c have faced that guy in battle many, many times and have always defeated his armies, but Artak always managed to escape and run away and leave his troops behind. Then Braytac asks Daniel, who is the one that he is talking to, which I don't think I mentioned before, asks him if Teal'c has ever spoken about his mother. Daniel knows that his mother is dead, but that's all that he knows about it. So Braytac goes on to say that Teal'c's mother was killed shortly after Teal'c commanded a victory over Arkad's fleet that he says was particularly large and embarrassing for him, and that her murder has gone unresolved, since it seemed to be no apparent reason that somebody just came into her village at night and murdered her. Pretty much everyone suspects that it was Arkad trying to get revenge. Nobody's ever proven that, but that is what is generally accepted to have been the case. Daniel asks why Teal'c didn't go after Arkad immediately in that case, but it's because he was first prime of Apophis at the time. So, his actions were chosen for him, as Braytac says. But now, knowing what Arkad has done in the village, and also knowing what Arkad did to his mom, there's nothing that's going to stop him. It does beg the question of why Teal'c didn't choose any other point in the last 10 years to go after Arkad. I mean, I know that this was yet another trigger, but if Braytac seems to be implying that the real reason for going after Arkad is because of what he did to Teal'c's mom. So if that were the case, why now?
It's weird.
It was weird. But in any case, Braytac thinks that Teal'c will stop at nothing to bring an end to Arkad.
Then we're in the briefing room. Reynolds is there, talking to Landry and Sam and Mitchell. They've been doing recon on some planet that is controlled by the Ori, but there's a secret rebel force that keeps them apprised of the situation there. So this secret faction is reported that The Jaffa there are being transported to another world and secretly building things, but it turns out it's not for the Ori, it's for the Jaffa. And then Reynolds name drops Arcad. Part of this intelligence they've received names Arcad as the man behind these Jaffa building ships and weapons outside of the Ori's view, command. Arcad has apparently offered the Ori to police the planet and get even more Jaffa planets to fall in line. So, Arcad is maybe not a true believer, but is happy to be on the side of the evil Ori? Not really sure. He likes power, it sounds like. Reynolds reports that they hear that Arcad's people have found some weapons-grade naquadah, and they're planning to attack Earth with it. That's not good.
Nope.
This guy just pops out of nowhere. Now he's the enemy of everybody. What is this episode? I don't know.
It is, yeah. It's a very weird episode.
Do you think they planned this after they knew they were canceled?
Well, see, I was thinking about that, and to me, it felt like they were angry that they were canceled, so they decided to make this weird, shitty episode. It was the impression that I got. Okay. I don't know why I got that feeling, but the last episode, as we mentioned, was kind of fun, and we both enjoyed it, and this one just sucked, and it felt like everyone was angry, especially, obviously, Teal'c is angry, but it just felt like the show itself, as an entity, was just anger incarnate, and yeah. So I'm thinking that they might not have planned this really too far ahead of finding out they were canceled.
Yeah, because if they had baked this guy into the Ori story over episodes, it might have worked better.
Right. There were like some rumors that some Jaffa were going to the Ori, but it seemed to be like pockets here and there, not one large group organized by one guy recruiting more and more Jaffa.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know we had that other guy like way back who ended up turning into an Ori, but this still didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Right, because they talk about this one, Arcad, amassing all kinds of power in troops.
Yeah. Why haven't we heard about it before?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is very weird. Maybe it was a plan that they did have for whatever reason. Like maybe this was a next season plot and then they're like, oh shit, we better wrap this up fast. Yeah. So I guess we just talk about him now?
Yeah, and give Teal'c a badass vengeance story on top of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not really that badass of a vengeance story.
Not.
It's all a bad look for Teal'c.
It really is.
Indeed.
Elsewhere, somewhere, we don't know exactly where, Teal'c finds the guy with the scar at an encampment and punches him. End scene. Sometime later, that guy wakes up and he's all tied up to a tree stump. And actually, he hasn't woken up yet because Teal'c pokes him with a piece of burning wood from the fire first. That's what wakes him up specifically. Yeah. This guy's name is Bakal, I guess, and he tells Teal'c to torture him all he wants, but he's not going to get anything out of him. Teal'c says that even though he hides among humans, he knows that he's a Jaffa, and then he points to the dead hagfish on the ground and says, see that? That was yours. But Bakal doesn't care because he believes in the Ori and in the everlasting glory that is coming to him, and that he knows that he's going to ascend when he dies, so what does he care about a dead hagfish? And nothing that Teal'c can say is going to convince him otherwise. Teal'c has a vial of what is presumably tritonin that he is holding there in his hand, and he does tell Bakal that he's got medicine that could save his life if he tells Teal'c what he wants to know. But, of course, Bakal is not going to do that and goes off on some rant about how all of those people that he killed were sinners, including the women and children and innocent bystanders that were also killed in the blasts. So Teal'c ups the stakes by mentioning that not only did he kill the hagfish, but he also put a bomb in Bakal's hagfish pocket. And it's going to blow up in 10 seconds. Unless maybe now Bakal will start talking? But even though Bakal looks like he might be convinced it might be time, Teal'c just gets up and leaves.
Yeah.
And when Bakal asks where he's going, he says, I'm leaving, you're about to explode, which would have been funny, I feel like, in other circumstances. It was almost funny, but the fact that he just blatantly murdered Bacall when Bacall seemed like he was actually going to be convinced to talk now was also terrible.
Yes.
And so as Teal'c is walking away, yes, we do see a giant fireball and hear an explosion behind him.
You usually like explosions so much.
I do. This was like one of the few explosions we've seen in this show that I did not enjoy.
Yeah. In the SGC, the team is gathered in Daniel's office.
Ow.
Talking about Arkad and why he might want to attack Earth. Mitchell thinks maybe street cred. Daniel thinks revenge. Sam thinks maybe the Ori told him to do it. They all have their theories. It's not good news, the threat of Earth being attacked, because Sam says they don't even have a way of detecting or stopping a cloaked cargo ship. And they could go after whatever they wanted. Isn't that always true?
Yes.
And then they're like, well, then maybe that would leave them open and defenseless for an Ori attack if this Jaffa attack were to impose maximum damage. Vala's like, what about all that Jaffa honor and meeting their enemy on the battlefield? And they're like, yeah, not Arkad, though. So we hear, because we've never heard of him before this episode, but everything we've been told makes it seem like he's bad. Just like, oh, Teal'c's got the right idea. And then we got our unscheduled off-world activation notification from Walter.
Threat level Foxtrot Alpha 6.
So we switch over to the control room. It's Arkad calling.
Who's calling?
Shock! I did like in this scene of Arkad talking to them how he's on multiple displays throughout the control room.
Yeah, it was weird.
That. Yeah,
but he was, yes.
He says, hi, warriors of the Teal'c, I greet you. And Landry's like, yeah, who's this? And he's like, Arkad. Landry's like, what do you want? And Arkad's like, I would like to come to your planet, so I would like some safety for that. Because we need to talk about how there's an imminent attack coming to Earth. And I'd like to help you take care of that. So let's meet. Let's have a chat.
What could go wrong?
Nothing's gonna go wrong, I'm sure.
Why did they agree to meet on Earth?
I don't know. That is also very weird.
I know that we've seen them bring Goa'uld to Earth and meet on a third planet, a neutral planet, but there was not even any mention of meeting on a neutral planet and then bringing him to Earth from there once they made sure he was unarmed. He was just there in the next scene.
Maybe it happens because this episode actually takes place over the span of literally months.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? That is not actually the next scene, though. The next scene, I forgot there is another
Close
scene
enough.
first. It is back in the infirmary. Braytac, Dr. Lamb, and Daniel are all there. Daniel is telling Braytac about the conversation that they just had. Braytac is not at all surprised that Arkad is claiming to be innocent in this situation, and he's still sure that Arkad is lying about all of this because he's a serpent. And Daniel shouldn't trust him, nor should anyone else in the SGC, for that matter.
Yeah.
So Daniel says he'll let Braytac know how it goes. And then we're in the briefing room with Arkad. Everybody else is there from SG1, obviously, except for Teal'c. Landry is there as well. Arkad says it's such an honor to meet everybody. He's looked forward to this day for some time, which I thought was weird. Why did he think he would ever be meeting them? Who knows? But here we are. He does say it's a shame Teal'c isn't there because he hasn't had the pleasure of seeing him in many years. Landry points out that they couldn't guarantee Arkad's safety if Teal'c was there. Arkad, though, is like, he couldn't have a grudge against me for all those battles before. That was under the name of false gods. I'm sure he's gotten all over that.
Oh, yeah.
But, of course, Mitchell mentions the more recent events, and Arkad, as we would expect, claims to be completely innocent in all of that. He says that there are people out there that would want him falsely accused of such cowardly actions. Those cowardly actions are not his way. It's all false. Everything they're saying is false.
Wicked, crazy, false.
He says that he does admit he was against that gathering that they were holding, but he would never do something as cowardly as bombing that. And the whole reason that they fought for freedom is because that would give them the ability to believe in whatever they want. So now they're free, and he can believe in the Ori if he wants. Doesn't mean everyone has to believe in the Ori, but even though we know he's trying to recruit people to the Ori. He sees it as an organized religion and the source of salvation, he calls it. And that, in my mind, is the exact problem, because organized religions are frequently problematic.
What?
In my personal experience. But he continues to repeat that he would never authorize an attack of that type on that summit. So, wasn't me.
He's a stand-up guy.
Surely so, indeed. He does tell them, though, that he's learned of a similar attack against Earth that's being planned by a radical sect of the Jaffa that has become very powerful, and who also oppose him and his desire to embrace origin. So obviously it must have been them that did this. And now they're continuing to prepare for an even bigger attack. Daniel asks if Arkad can stop them, not really seeming like he believes Arkad's claims. Arkad says, yeah, he thinks that he can. He'll use his resources and influence to choke them off, basically. Or you can fund them, as Landry points out. Because they all know that he is full of shit.
Yes.
Landry tells Arkad to make the demands that he has come here to make, but Arkad says he doesn't have any demands. He just understands their mistrust, but he just wants to work together.
Then we're back with the first guy that Teal'c has threatened with violence and used violence against in this episode. The one whose name we don't know.
Yeah.
He had given up the Scar Man to Teal'c, and now Teal'c is back to do more threatening and torturing. He's like, I told you everything I know, and Teal'c does not believe him. Teal'c thinks he knows where Arkad is. This guy's like, I'm not afraid to die though, so suck it. And Teal'c's like, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna torture you a lot until you tell me what I want to know.
That's pretty much it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Then we're back with the rest of SG1 and Landry in the conference room. Landry has spoken to the IOA, who are very concerned about the potential for attack on Earth. But they do not want Landry to do anything about Arkad himself. Leave him alone, let him do his thing. Because they need more information. They want to assess his capability and determine if the threats themselves are credible and who's really behind them. All sorts of things that this episode does not have time for. Mitchell makes some weirdly, not specifically timely, but within the last decade, mention of WMDs hidden away. Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. Landry is going to put several SG teams on these recon missions to actually figure out what's going on, but he has a special plan for SG1, or SG 80%. He wants them to go find Teal'c. Because the IOA doesn't want Teal'c killing Arkad. So he is going to have them find Teal'c and stop him from killing Arkad. The team is not excited about this prospect.
They are not.
No.
And then we're on Arkad's planet.
It's an ugly planet! A bone planet!
SG1 is there. SG3 is also there. They beam down into a clearing. And they set up some equipment and leave it hiding. Sam mentions that they've got field generators in place. Vala is putting out some electronic devices in trees. They are apparently trip sensors that Daniel is helping her to set up. We don't really know exactly what they're planning, but Sam mentions that she's glad that Mitchell is so sure about his plan. Mitchell says that they're going to know he's coming, and he'll want the element of surprise, so Mitchell figures he's going to use a cloaked ship and try to sneak in the back way, presumably talking about Teal'c trying to sneak into Artak's pyramid there. I was wondering why, if they thought he was going to be using a cloaked ship to sneak in towards the back of the pyramid, they were setting up all these trip sensors here between the pyramid and the gate. That's what didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me about this scene.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they did it all around the pyramid, but that seems like a lot of work.
That would be a lot of work. Yes.
Maybe it took them weeks. We don't know.
Could have been months. Who knows?
They live here now.
Yep. In any case, whatever the hell it is exactly that they are trying to accomplish, they've got a bunch of sensors. They're looking for Teal'c. He may be in a ship. He might be running through the woods. Who knows? Sometime later, Daniel and Vala are just hanging around in some bushes, talking about Braytak. Vala says that Braytak thinks that Arkad is going to attack Earth no matter what kind of an agreement he happens to have with them, which I thought was kind of obvious, so I didn't really know why they needed to feel... why they felt the need to be restating this either, because it's literally restating the obvious, but that's what they chose to do. Did they, once again, have too short of an episode and need to fill it with extra conversation or something? Because that's what this scene felt like to me. Vala asks what the harm would be in, oops, we failed to stop Teal'c from killing Arkad, our bad. Accidental incompetence, she calls it. Daniel says, yeah, he gets it, but if Arkad is planning the attacks that he is saying someone else is planning, then the best chance would be trying to keep Arkad alive and get intelligence from him, even if he's not the one necessarily planning the attacks. Either way, might be helpful to get more info from him. Daniel says that getting information from him is the easy part when Vala asks exactly how that's going to work, because Daniel says they just capture him, lock him in a room, and threaten to let Teal'c kill him. I don't know that that would be enough to convince Arkad to say anything.
All right, I get it. You're the asshole cop.
Yeah! Wait, what?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
But they think they've come up with the solution.
Yep.
Then we see Arkad also appreciates candles, as is the Jaffa way.
Indeed.
And then we're back with Sam and Mitchell. So just a quick candle scene.
Yep. We haven't had a candle scene in a while.
I
suppose we were due.
Yeah. Sam says to Mitchell, you know it could take days before Teal'c shows up, right? Mitchell knows that. Sam's like, we don't even know, he could have already come and gone and Arkad's dead. Mitchell's like, well, we'll know one way or another soon. But they realize that SG3 hasn't checked in on time, so Mitchell radios to Reynolds, who does not answer. So Mitchell tells Sam to hang back, he's gonna go check out the situation.
Jim Tanny Laundry.
Where he finds SG3 all laying on the ground, and I was like, they better just be unconscious, because if they're dead, I'm gonna be mad they killed Reynolds like 3 episodes before the end of the series.
Right? That would have been shitty.
Yeah. Fortunately, though, he does report over the radio to the rest of the team that they are just unconscious. So Mitchell realizes this is Teal'c who has attacked, and so he starts calling out for Teal'c like, hey, Teal'c, know you're there. Why don't you come out?
See, this was also shitty and angry making, because now he's knocking out SG teams.
Yeah.
At least he didn't kill them, but still.
That's true. And then he almost zats Mitchell, but he misses.
Yeah, but then he beats the crap out of Mitchell instead and knocks him unconscious, so...
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth in this whole thing.
I mean, that's pretty much the gist of the entire next scene, is that Teal'c beats the crap out of Mitchell.
Teal'c does beat the crap out of Mitchell.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was weird. And then we are in Arkad's meditation chamber. Outside, because we're only in the meditation chamber very briefly, outside there's some Jaffa patrolling at the entrance. And Teal'c throws a shock grenade at them, so they all fall down. They've been knocked out. And then Arkad continues to meditate. Teal'c continues on in the pyramid. He finds more Jaffa. There's a firefight. Teal'c gets hit. That doesn't seem that great. Then we see Arkad. He's no longer meditating in his meditation chamber. Now he's just fighting a punching bag and beating it up with a stick. So it's just such a weird episode. Yeah. Even though Teal'c's been hit a couple times, I think in that last scene, he's still continuing on his way in, still fighting Jaffa off left and right as he goes. He collapses to the ground at one point, and so just fires behind him and manages to take out a bunch of Jaffa that were running up behind him. And then a bunch more Jaffa come up and manage to get Teal'c's weapon away from him because he is fully collapsed on the ground now. And so they drag him to Arkad and throw him on the floor in front of Arkad, in fact. Arkad calls him as predictable as ever. Teal'c is conscious, but kind of barely. Arkad tells his Jaffa to leave, and so, of course, they do. And then Arkad goes to his wall of weapons and pulls down a staff, and he hands it to Teal'c. And, of course, they start fighting, and Teal'c gets the crap beat out of him.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. He keeps getting knocked down. Arkad makes fun of him for being old and slow. Every time that Teal'c gets knocked down, he does get up again, but you can't say that he's never going to keep him down because he really does continue to beat the crap out of him until he stabs him through the abdomen with a giant sword.
Yeah.
He does admit during the course of this fight that he did have Teal'c's mother killed because he had lost his sister in the battle, something to do with the battle that Teal'c had led. So yeah, he's angry also. And Teal'c definitely should be dead from this several foot long sword sticking through in the middle of his abdomen where his descending aorta is, but he's not. He's fine. And apparently the news that Arkad killed his mother is enough for Teal'c to rally a little bit. And so he kicks Arkad, who gets thrown back on some weapons just out of luck. So,
yep.
Great.
Congrats on that accidental impalement.
And then somehow Teal'c is not only not dead, but he manages to stand up, pull the sword that has completely run through his abdomen out of his body, and then he stabs Arkad with a knife in the chest, and then also drives his sword down underneath his collarbone and through his torso, effectively killing Arkad despite the very bad ass beating that he was receiving. And SG1 get there, SG 80%, I suppose, get there just in time to see the end of all this.
It was pretty grisly.
It was.
Fight. Oof.
Yeah.
A lot more blood, I feel like, than I'm used to seeing on the show.
It was very bloody, most of the blood being Teal'c's.
Yes. Then, sometime later, maybe like 6 months, we don't know.
A few inches later.
Teal'c is back in the infirmary.
Maybe it was 5 years. Who knows?
Maybe. Braytac is there, wearing a plaid robe. It's just a weird to see Braytac in not Braytac clothes.
Yeah, like a normal bathrobe.
Yeah, he's just some old dude now.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't have nearly as many scars on his face as he should, given how covered in burns he was 3 years ago or whatever.
Tritonin is magic.
Apparently.
Just like a hagfish.
Yep.
They say hi, basically.
Yep.
Yay, you're alive.
Also, Teal'c tells Braytac that Arkad is not, but I think Braytac already knew that, so.
Yes. Yeah. Outside of where Teal'c is recuperating, Landry is talking to Mitchell. They have spun a story where they didn't get there just in time to see Teal'c kill Arkad. Instead, Arkad took SG1 prisoner and Teal'c had to save them and kill Arkad. And Teal'c was injured in the process. So, hopefully the IOA buys that.
Yeah.
Mitchell said in his report, too, that Arkad admitted to planning all the attacks and they were going to go through with them regardless of what they do, so covering all their asses as best as possible. And then we have one final scene with Teal'c and Braytac, where we, learn that Teal'c already killed the guy who actually killed his mother. Now, Arkad may have given the orders. Teal'c's not 100% sure. And also, Braytac is like, "You're the son I never had. I'm so proud of you." And that's the end of the episode.
Revenge is a dish that is best served cold.
That is the end of the episode. Kathy, did you like the episode?
I did not like the episode. And I actually wrote in my notes, I don't even remember writing it down, but I wrote, "This nice moment at the end is ruined by how much I hate this episode."
It felt like it wasn't really a deserved moment, given all the shitty things Teal'c has just done.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of what I don't like about this episode, we've already talked about. Like, this was so rushed and so weird, and I didn't really buy Teal'c's revenge quest, and even if I did, his methods were horrifying. Yeah, it was a really weird episode, and it did not work for me at all. How about you?
Yeah, I had all kinds of issues. We have talked about most of them, but yeah, it was a really awful episode for Teal'c because we saw him murder people, just straight up murder them, and we saw him torturing people. I didn't like that he was willing to just leave the team forever, just 'cause. And we saw that he took out SG3 and beat up Mitchell, and it really, to me, feels like there shouldn't be no coming back from this, but I'm sure they're just gonna never talk about this again and move on.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there was a lot of repetitive back and forth, which you and I glanced over, especially like towards the end, because it was a lot of repetitive back and forth that went on for quite a while, which was very tedious to watch, which is why I was happy to just not talk about it.
I think it would have been very tedious to talk about.
It would have been very tedious to talk about and very tedious to listen to us talking about it, more importantly. It annoyed the crap out of me that Teal'c recovered so quickly from life-altering injuries at the beginning, but then it also annoyed me that he didn't die when he was stabbed through the abdomen with a sword.
Yeah.
And that not only did he not die, as I mentioned, he was able to get back up and walk. There was so much I didn't like about this episode. This has got to be right up there, pretty close with Broca's Divide as far as how much I disliked this episode.
Ooh, that's a damning statement right there.
Yeah, just hated everything about it. Not to mention, it was just so depressing. The last episode was so fun, and this one was such a downer.
Yeah. What are we going to talk about next? Will it be a downer?
Hopefully not. Who knows? Next is Stargate Atlantis. I almost called it SG1. Stargate Atlantis, Season 3, Episode 17. According to TVDB, it is called Sunday, by the way, worth mentioning. According to TVDB, the team tries to relax during a mandatory day off until an explosion leaves 3 people dead and reveals that one scientist is a walking time bomb. So that does not sound like it will be less depressing.
No, it does not.
Bad explosions in both. I don't like these explosions when they involve people blowing up.
No.
I like buildings blowing up and stuff. Over at IMDb, with everyone having a Sunday off, something recommended by a psychologist, Dr. Heitmeyer, all of the members of the Atlantis team pursue leisure activities. Rodney McKay and Carson Beckett are scheduled to go fishing. Shepard decides to teach Ronan Dex about golf. Teal'c spends some time in the gym, and Elizabeth Weir has a lunch date with the handsome Mike Branton. Their day off, however, is interrupted by a powerful explosion near the mess hall, killing and injuring several members of the team. I don't think it kills any members of the team, if we're talking about Team Shart.
No, it does not kill anyone in Team Shart, but I think I remember this episode, and it is a downer.
It feels... Yeah, I think I know exactly what episode this is, and I hate it, and I was hoping that it wasn't this season, but here we are.
Well, fuck.
McKay thinks he knows the cause of the problem. A device found by 2 junior members of his team may have turned some of them into walking time bombs by creating explosive tumors in them. Neat.
I thought you were done before. Wow, this is long. Is
it was long. Now I'm done.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, next episode will not be any better than this episode, if it is the one I am thinking it is.
I think it's that one too.
Yeah. Neat.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to Stargatesing with Kathy and Mary. Our fully listener-supported program couldn't be done without you. Show your support by telling everyone you know how awesome this show is. Find us at stargatesing.space. Reach us by email, stargatesing@gmail.com. Find us on social media at Blue Sky. Get some merch, tinyurl/stargatesing. And finally, show your financial support at patreon.com/stargatesing. Thank you for traveling through the gate with us. Catch you next time on Stargatesing with Kathy and Mary.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Mary.
And you've been listening to Stargatesing. The end.
The end.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Oh, man.